So we don't plan to make any money on the first bricks. We want to make money in the long term, be long-term greedy. We want to build up the entire ecosystem and to develop our business together with our partners.
Okay.
So that everybody will be winner going forward. And we will make a lot of money from the ecosystem. We build a house with the bricks, but not making money from the bricks, from selling the bricks.
Thanks, Annabelle, for having me today. It's a pleasure as we kind of usher in the next frontier for Hong Kong ETFs. And we're excited to welcome the first Asia's first virtual asset spot ETFs with the listing of 3 Bitcoin spot ETFs and 3 Ether spot ETFs as well. I think this is really going to go a long way to enrich our product diversity and also just further strengthen Hong Kong's position as ETFs marketplace.
Oh, we're definitely starting to see hiccups. I mean, you name it, whether it's Walmart or the Dollar Generals of the world or it's McDonald's, all of these CEOs who run these companies are like, well, gee, we've got higher income people frequenting our establishment, our store. I'm like, okay, so where are the lower income people?
Right.
Where did they go? Because if you've got people trading down to Walmart, that's a sign that, at QI Research, we parse out what's called non-discretionary inflation. These are things over which the Federal Reserve has zero control. Healthcare, automobile insurance, food, energy. The Fed has no sway. The Federal Reserve has no sway over these prices, and yet it's running at 4.7% year over year. Working men and women are being just slaughtered by the things over which the Fed and they have no control. That when the misery index is going up, right? We found out that we actually had negative. We had job losses in the third quarter of 2023 after revisions. When people are losing their jobs at the pace at which they are, and inflation over which the Fed has no control is rising, the Fed should be leaning against the wind and lowering interest rates and providing relief to the lower income earners. Absolutely.
You think the next move, by the way,
I didn't say that that's what they were going to do. I said that that's what they should be doing.
Okay.
Consumer confidence data that we saw come out this morning, everybody's intentions for buying things like a car or a major appliance or a home, they're all completely collapsing. We saw data come out of the Chicago manufacturing sector this morning that is unlike anything we've seen since the great financial crisis, meaning households are not buying things that they want to buy.
But we'll still have a very strong employment report likely on Friday.
Well, of course we will, and it's going to be revised away. And I think that people are wise to that. We've had about 120,000 layoffs announced in the month of April, which seasonally is a very kind month. Normally the henchmen and henchwomen come in January, but we've already had announced layoffs surpass that of what we saw in January.
All is said, net job gains.
Not after revisions, Neil.
No, that's not true.
Oh, but it is.
Oh, no, I think you lied.
Wow. My mother begs to differ, and she's watching.
You're still up a lot. Right?
No, not after revisions. They're not. That's my point. And what we hear on Friday morning, that's 700,000 surveyed.
Right.
The revisions that we've received back are 11.9 million.
You're feeding your
employers.
own argument with the data you choose.
It's the Bureau of Labor Statistics that tells us after the fact.
I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you say.
Because bond owners are pessimists, real glass half empty guys. And the bond market is certainly in charge right now. See, today we saw exactly how pessimistic they really are when they overlooked very weak consumer confidence data and averted eyes from an amazingly weak Chicago Purchasing Managers Report, 17-month low, both signs that we're making progress in the fight against inflation. Instead, they focused on a slightly hotter than expected employee wage figure. The results? Bond yields moved up slightly, and the stock market got annihilated. The Dow tumbling 570 points, S&P plunging 1.57%, and the Nasdaq plummeting 2.04%. April of 2024 will now go down as the worst month for the Dow since September of 2022. Good riddance. Now we're on the verge of a Fed meeting tomorrow that will no doubt show that Jay Powell wants to keep interest rates up higher for longer because the popular perception is the economy isn't weakening.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And we have the CEO of Harvest Global Investments says they're trying to build a house, not trying to make money off the bricks. And guys, we know that's all about Freemasonry. And we know what he's talking about, building the ecosystem, and that's for the fourth industrial revolution. He knows all about this digital economy. And those were powerful words. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Now we have Danielle Booth coming with the truth. And she's been hitting them hard lately. And we have the host doesn't want to hear some of the truth. And we're having plenty of job losses. And when they come in with the employment numbers, we know they've been revised down. I've been over this several times. And we have households changing their behavior. They're getting what they need instead of getting what they want. And that's what the Fed wants to do. These central banks have to change the behavior of the American citizens because it's no longer going to be this big surplus. Remember, Janet Yellen talked about that, getting rid of the surplus, only getting what you need. And I can talk about this for an hour. But if you go back to the C word, guys, it changes everyone's behavior. And right now, because inflation is so high, rates are so high, it is definitely hurting the pockets of the globe, but especially in America. Remember, guys, they have to change everything that Americans are used to doing. Remember, guys, we're in a fragmented world. They have to destroy this whole legacy market in order to bring in the fourth industrial revolution. But remember, America is the last free nation. If the sheep sleep, they're going to win. But if the sheep decide to wake up and just resist a little, the sheep can still win instead of going to the slaughterhouse. And that's the reason why I started this channel. That's the reason why I write my books, guys, is to wake the sheep out of their sleep. But unfortunately, they don't want to hear the truth. Why? Because the truth hurts, but it sets you free. And we have social media having the sheep in a web of looking and hearing about nonsense instead of caring about what's really going on. You're talking about your whole life is about to change. Your kids' is about to change. And that's the reason why I started the Patreons, guys. You have to have like minds that are ready to move in a different direction when things hit the fan. Remember, this technology can be used for good or evil. You only need a few people to be on the same page as you if we're going to be going into the fourth industrial revolution. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Now we have Jim Cramer on the bond market. And guys, you know I speak about it every single day. These yield rates get to spiking. We know what's going to happen to the markets. As simple as that. It's very simple when you understand finances. Unfortunately, they don't want you to know. It's called critical thinking. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand finances. But we know what Jerome Powell is going to say tomorrow. He's definitely going to be data dependent. They're not going to move yet, but we're going to get a little help from Janet Yellen. And we know in the crypto market, we move up at the beginning of the month. Won't receive a whole lot of liquidity, so it will not be a big pump. And with stocks and cryptos, we're still going to have pumps and dumps. We're just going to be headed down. Remember, guys, this is an election year. They're not going to let it plummet just yet. And the Patreon premium stock account, I went over 401ks because as the stock market starts to dump going towards the end of the year, and especially at the beginning of the year, you have to start getting yourself protected. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And speaking of elections, we have the Trump movie. And of course, guys, he's being persecuted. We know that's all biblical. But we have Republicans and Democrats never get along unless they're moving the agenda. And when you get old like me, you start to recognize it. They never get along. And then all of a sudden, when they need billions of dollars on something they're pushing, all of a sudden, all of them come to the table and they can agree. I've seen it so many times, it's ridiculous. And unfortunately, the masses fall for the divide and conquer. They rather choose a side rather than question their reality or stand with the truth. Yes, guys, I know it sounds like a movie, but remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Well, it's the responsibility of the speaker, and he's out there. The challenge is it's money to raise, right? And you've got to raise that money not just for the party, but for the members as well. They're falling a little behind.
You think Trump's going to be able to close the gap with Biden?
Well, see, this is a strategy the Democrats are doing against Trump. And there's twofold that is playing back against him. They're bogging President Trump down in spending his money on attorneys, which gives them an advantage. But their whole argument about democracy is they're losing that, because they're trying to kick him off the ballot. They're going after court. And regardless of how you think about President Trump, does anyone in America believe he would be on trial today if he had not run for president?
What happened?
No. So it's an attack on democracy.
If he had not run for president?
Had he not run for re-election, for president now, do you believe he'd be in trial?
That hush money, that hush money trial was on the back burner. No, not that.
Okay, if you think just the word "it's possible," then I know you don't believe that.
What about? No, I think it's very possible.
He cobbled together all these.
I think, in fact, I think it would have actually been easier for the folks who brought the case to bring it otherwise. I think the fact that he was running made it actually harder.
Which trial? The opposite argument has been made that the reason he was running is because he wanted to be able to put a stop
but not to the Stormy Daniels.
He was running on.
And by the way, if you really believed that Biden was so effective at trying to, clamp down on his opponent, they would have brought this case a long time ago. They wouldn't have done it the way they've done now.
4 different cases. They tried to kick him off the Colorado ballot. I mean, if you really want to make the argument about democracy, I've watched so many things that we keep transpiring here, but they're losing that argument because they're combating against democracy, denying somebody the ballot, going after somebody right before the election. Some of these lawsuits are nobody by all extremes.
Serious believes that the Stormy Daniels trial would have been brought, or that
it's already been looked at.
Cobbling together these misdemeanors and then not telling you what takes it to a felony, what the crime is that takes it to. It was on the desk of New York prosecutors for 4 or 5 years. No one did anything with it. Then Alvin Bragg, brings it up, cobbles it together. That's why people. I mean, you just look at the response nationwide to that. The other ones, maybe you've got something there with the documents or the Georgia case, but the story.
Yeah, okay, but where's the fairness?
With the other.
But you haven't got the documents with Biden. I mean, I think what America really needs right now is a debate about the issues and what the future looks like. Should we be debating about what's our policy when it comes to China? Where are we going to stand on AI? What are we going to do in the defense world? Where are we based upon energy? These are all things that hopefully I'll come back in a couple of months and announce something very exciting. These are issues I focused on in Congress.
I think that
going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is It's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, well, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence.
I hate when countries go off the dollar. I would not allow countries to go off the dollar, because when we lose that standard, that will be like losing a revolutionary war. That will be a hit to our country, just like losing a war. And we can't let that happen. And too many countries now are fighting to get off the dollar.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Xrp, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.